All right, James Lynch here for Fightful with Jon Fitch, who's here actually for Bellator 214, and I want to start there. What's it like, getting to be here and not fighting? Do you like it because you can kind of relax, not cutting weight, or is it like, man, I just want to get in the cage?
No, it's nice to just hang out and not have to be stressed with things. Just do some interviews, talk to some people, catch up with other fighters without being stressed out.
Yeah,
and stuff. That's cool. But no, it's fun just to get out of town.
Yeah,
get away from the kids and get some. I mean, we get some work done in my room.
For sure. And we knew a while ago that obviously Rory was going to be your next opponent. But you're watching that fight with Gegard Mousasi and Rory. Are you getting worried at all that maybe it's going to be a little bit longer because Gegard dominated that fight from bell to bell? Yeah,
I did. I mean, and I wasn't really surprised with that. When you take two guys who are similarly skilled at a high level, and one guy's got 15 pounds of muscle on the other guy, it should look like what happened with Rory Mousasi. So there's not a lot to take away from that, other than he had to take a little bit more time to heal. But Bellator is taking care of me in a way that I can overlook sitting out for 9-10 months. So it feels good to be here. I'm excited about what's coming up. The camp that's coming up in the next year is going to be really exciting.
And just talk about being with Bellator the last little bit. It's kind of funny, making decisions in your career. Like, you've already, just in a couple Bellator fights, already getting these huge matchups. You fought Daly, you're fighting Rory. It seemed in the UFC that was something they were trying to delay for a long time. You kind of look back at that and you're like, you know what, I'm so glad to be here.
I mean, it didn't make a lot of sense at the time when I was going through, but it makes perfect sense now.
Yeah.
When you realize that it's not a sport, it's production.
Yeah.
The UFC's business model is pro wrestling. They don't care about who's the best fighter. They care about who makes them the most money. And they're casting roles. And unfortunately, when I was there, they had already cast the role of GSP. They already had somebody who could take people down and beat them with ground and pound and stuff like that. So they didn't need another one. So they needed to get rid of me. They needed to use me as a gatekeeper, and then I was too dangerous as a gatekeeper because I beat up all the guys that they were going to funnel to GSP. So they had to just try to put me away and get rid of me. So then they started just smashing me up with people that are supposed to beat me so they can get rid of me.
Right.
And it wasn't until the Maia fight that they actually went ahead and did it. I thought they were going to do it after the Hendricks fight.
Right.
But I think they set me up with the Eric Silva fight because they wanted me to have 2 losses in a row. They wanted to build up their new star. So that was a fun time putting my foot in their butt.
You mentioned
Bellator is much more meritocracy based. There's much more merit based in the way they're doing things, and I think that's because Scott Coker has a long history in combat sports, and he understands that if you don't run it merit based, like the fans have no one to latch onto as they go up through the ranks.
One more thing in the UFC, we saw Yair Rodriguez get cut briefly, and then he was brought back in. Did that sort of remind you of your situation, what happened with the UFC as well with the gaming rights?
See, I haven't even heard of that news. I don't know, but it was probably something similar. Yeah, they probably gave him the contract that they always give you. It's take it or leave it. And he probably said no, and then they fired him. Probably, try to hire him back for less money even.
Right,
Yeah, it's just what they do. It's the abuses in the sport will not change until we separate the title away from the promoter.
Right. Let's talk about Rory as far as the matchup goes. There is a school of thought out there that Rory has taken a lot of damage in his career. The Lawler fight, the last one against Mousasi. Do you think that'll play a role at all when you guys square off?
I think it plays a role in everybody. The longer you fight, the more damage you take. The more it's going to affect you. The more it's going to affect your next training camp. The more it's going to affect your mental aspects, even if you're not getting beat up, if you're winning all those fights. That's what I say. I get mad. If you put somebody on the top 10 pound for pound and they haven't had 20 fights, get the fuck out of here.
Right.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Like, if you haven't had at least 20 fights, you don't belong on any pound for pound list. Like, to me, that's baseline. Can you even make it to 20 fights? Like, a lot of people can't. Not even just physically, but mentally. You can't make it to 20 fights. Like, you're not on the list unless you've had 20 fights.
Let's talk about the matchup itself. Skill-wise, style-wise, how do you feel like you match up against him in this fight?
Very good. I think I'm better on the ground. I have better wrestling. I think we match up okay striking-wise. He's got a few things he does really well with his striking, but he's not Michael Page. He's not Paul Daly.
Do you think he is the most dangerous guy in this tournament, or do you see someone else as more of a threat?
Honestly, my truth to that is the most dangerous guy in the tournament was Ed Ruth.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, no, I can see that for sure.
That may be Ed Ruth's last loss ever. Like, Ed Ruth is a guy who is who's really green, but the world is his oyster. The ceiling's the limit for that guy.
I know we don't have a date yet for the fight. We might find that out tonight.
The limit.
But you mentioned to me, off air a little bit. Training camp will be starting soon. That will be primarily at AKA, the whole camp.
Yep. I'll probably make some trips to Vegas to hang out with One Kick a little bit.
Okay.
Get some work in. But yeah.
And who are the guys you usually work with at AKA? I know it's a big gym, but
we got a lot of young guys.
Yeah.
And I'm not a spring chicken, so it's not about fighting every day.
Yeah.
It's about getting ready and preparing for that fight. So I don't need to get beat up by guys who are 15 pounds heavier than me. In 5-round days of sparring. Like, I can have shorter amounts of hard sparring with lighter guys, and I'm still going to be fine. I know how to fight.
Yeah, and I was going to say, one of your teammates at AKA is going to be making a triumphant comeback, and that is Cain Velasquez. Have you talked to Cain? Have you trained with him at all leading up to this fight with Nagano?
I have not. I've been focusing on jiu-jitsu recently, just because I was putting in day after day after day waiting to hear about a fight in team training, and I was getting burnt out, and I didn't want to do 6 months, because it kind of happened to me with the Jake Shields fight. I ended up having a 7-month training camp, 8-month training camp. So I didn't want to do that again. So I just been putting the gi on and rolling around.
Okay. One of your other teammates, Deron Wynn, is going to be making his debut soon. We're just waiting on a date. But one thing I found interesting was that he was actually recruited for the WWE. Is pro wrestling something you'd ever do to kind of complete the trifecta?
I don't know. I just can't. I couldn't. It's too silly.
Okay.
It's too silly for me.
So you weren't a fan growing up, I take it?
I was, until I found out it was fake.
Okay.
Right.
Gotcha.
So I was a big fan. I thought it was awesome. Then I went to my first wrestling practice, and I was like, what the hell? I was like, this isn't what I thought it was.
Yeah.
I was like, it's fake. And I was like, I was so mad. I'm kind of scarred by it. I was like, these guys lied to me. I went home, I had these little rubber dolls, wrestling guys. I cut their dicks off.
Really?
I went home and cut their dicks off. My mom thought I was like a weird psychopath, whatever. I was like, you're liars. You're not men. I'm like,
so who are some of the casualties?
I was like 8 years old, Junkyard Dog, Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant.
Jeez.
Like,
manhood taken away like that.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
I was just like, you're not, man. The Russian guy. I was just like, this is all a lie. You guys made me believe that you were tough and men and fighting, and it was all fake. And I was pissed, and it took me a long time to get not pissed about it. But,
one of the other things you're known for, I know, is you've gone to do the vegan thing and everything like that. What is the status now on your eating habits?
No. I have a video on my YouTube page about switching back. I've been on the same meal plan since my title fight in 2016.
Okay, great.
So a little bit tweaks here and there, but it's low carb, lots of protein, good fats, and no sugar.
Yeah, sugar's a killer. That's
the only sugar I have now is alcohol.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Gotta have a drink here and there. You were telling me off air that you might be heading up a weight class, perhaps at the conclusion of this tournament. So is that just because the division's kind of thin, so to speak, from the top down?
It's because I'm a fucking grandpa.
Well, you're a big guy too. I mean,
old as fuck.
Yeah.
I'm Oaf. Old as fuck. It's my new nickname. Old as fuck.
Yeah.
Because how much longer can I do this? Let's load up the fireworks and go out in a bang. So we got this huge tournament. Win this tournament. I'm the man at 170. Let's go up a weight, fight for that title, and then retire double champ. Like, sounds pretty awesome.
One other thing, speaking of tournaments, does it ever cross your mind? I know you're really happy with Bellator, but does it ever cross your mind, like, if I would have stayed in that PFL tournament, I might have won that thing?
No, because they're not. You don't get the money all at once.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
No.
Okay.
You get paid like yearly, and if they go out of business, they go bankrupt. They're done paying you.
True. Okay.
Like, I will put money down. I'll bet you $100 that the guys who won the tournament this year won't see all that $1 million.
Okay. Is that just from guys you talk to? Any insight?
That's
I guess.
Me, from my experiences.
Okay.
Like, I don't think they do a good job of making money.
Well, the viewership was certainly down, so
yes.
that definitely leads to that.
So far, from what my observations have been, is they make money from people investing.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not making any money off their product. The only way they get money is if more people invest. eventually that somebody's going to stop.
Yeah.
It seems like somebody's going to stop investing.
That's true, and their CEO just left too. I don't know if you saw that.
They're gonna. Oh, it's Carlos.
Carlos, yeah, he's
Silva?
with the World Tennis Organization now, so they need to get someone new at the helm. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, So, I mean,
yeah,
I think I got out at the right time.
Last question before I let you go. We were talking a little politics here. You know, we kind of share this in common. You know, the PC culture, politically correct. Who would you say are some of the you know
make
people?
Evidence great again.
Exactly, or there's
make
the
evidence great again. I want to make those shirts.
Who do you sort of follow in the world of politics, whether it's you know political commentators or anything like that? Just to get in the mind of Jon Fitch from that side of things.
I mean, I try to follow a lot of people. Luke Radegowski, whatever, the We Are Change on whatever, he's real good. Mike Cernovich, Jack Probasek, Glenn Greenwald. You know, there's guys on all sides of the spectrum that I try to consume. Michael Tracy, I think, is another one. Yeah. So I mean, there's guys who fall on different sides of the spectrum wherever, but you gotta get all of them. You gotta get all the points of view. There's Ali Ashir. There's a few guys. There's a few guys who are more left. There's a few guys who are hardcore conservative. But like you gotta
balance it out.
You gotta balance it, and you gotta go to the person, not the organization. Organization has power over the person, and will sway them. And money talks, you know.
Before we go, I got to plug your YouTube channel. I know that's another thing you're doing on the side. Just let people know where they can find that, and any other stuff you want to plug, any sponsors.
Yeah, Official Jon Fitch is my YouTube channel, and then jonfitch.net is my website. I got everything linked up to them. My book, Failing Upward, Death by Ego, is available on Amazon, Kindle, and paperback. Check that out if you can.